was an important part of all of our lives. All of us actually have a story or two or more about Luke. The collective stories are each significant, but in most cases only known to the individual, and therefore cherished as private or even perhaps shared among their closest friends. But when taken in total, with the hub of this spinning wheel being Luke, then the woven fabric of Luke's story is a beautiful, colorful tapestry. The story of Luke. Our Luke, Mr. Charter, came to Charter Country in '73, as you've heard, and graduated in '76. One of his classmates is the former Senator John Ensign. And to our great fortune, he never left. But now I know why. Luke graced the halls with his smile and his encouraging "Get to class" command, and his actual belief that everyone would. And I think everybody did because of his personal warmth. Luke the leader. Luke never said, "Like me." We just did. Luke never said, "Be kind." He just was. And Luke never said, "I'm important." He just made you feel you were. Luke graced the football stadium, the basketball courts, the baseball and softball diamonds, the track, soccer, and athletic fields. All were in his domain. You never had to tell him to wear colors. I don't know if he had any other clothing choices. Whether it was a Letterman's jacket, t-shirt, polo shirt, sweatshirt, ball cap, Luke never had a never-ending array of Clark gear. Even at the welcome dance or proms, Luke had a stunning array of tuxedos. Thanks to Bob and Mika Moon of the Tuxedo Junction, they always matched Luke with the exact same tux I was wearing for that evening. Now, how Luke outdressed me each and every time is still today a mystery to me. However, on his 50th birthday, when we found out his Letterman's jacket was tattered and worn, we brought him a brand new Letterman's jacket. It's out there for you to touch and feel again his warmth. And when I said, "You know, Luke, when I put that jacket on, I don't know how you do it, but you look better in it than I do." And he said, "Mr. T, better body." You know, how many of us have prom pictures with Luke in it? Yeah. One day after lunch, Luke reached out and grabbed my arm and said, "They're gonna fight. They're gonna fight." We got there just in time to break it up, and after taking them to the dean's office, I saw Luke and said, "Good job, buddy. We're putting them out of school." And Luke gave me a look and said, "I hope not forever." Well, I looked right at him in total silence. And Luke said, "They know better, Mr. T." Luke showed us every day that while we, the teachers, were doing our best to teach students how to make a living someday, Luke was busy teaching our students simply how to live. Luke's leadership was not spoken, it was demonstrated. See, Luke's leadership was his example. Luke, our guiding friend. Luke was the happy person who entered the room like a candle being lit. Many of us were drawn to his innocence, his warmth, and his light. Many people cursed the darkness. Luke simply lit the candle. While Luke's candle was always moving to light the next candle, flame to flame, we couldn't help but notice that his own flame never diminished. Luke reminded us that the world is not fair, that we cannot always be a winner. Winning to Luke wasn't everything, but the effort to win You know, Luke loved the jocks, male and female, even if he couldn't be one. But by the way, from all the practices he attended, he probably out-practiced everybody who ever was a jock at Clark. Luke loved you even when you lost. One day I heard him say, "We just gotta work harder." Luke the reader. Much is known about Luke, but many never knew Luke could read, comprehend, and spend hours reading. Many days of my nearly 9 years at Clark, Luke would come to the conference room and look through the yearbooks. He would laugh and tell me stories about people and things. And by the way, he told me some things about some of you that you would not. But Luke loved good stories, and if he had a bad one, it never came out. One day Luke said, "I like your thoughts for the day." And I asked him, "Okay, which one?" And he said, "If there is no wind, row."
Wow.
That's Luke. I said, "Well, here's some others." As he looked at the list, he began to read it out loud, and again, I was in stunned silence. See, I didn't know he could. I asked him, "Read it out loud to me," and he did. Another day, he was reading out of my, what they call famous Mark Twain sayings book, and he said, "Mr. T, the man who does not read good books has no advantage over the man who can't read them." Like I said, I didn't know a lot about him, but there are things I'll never forget. Luke read Emerson, Longfellow, Teddy Roosevelt, Truman, Will Rogers, and Churchill. One of my most cherished Christmas gifts is Luke on cassette tape reading The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Isn't that a keeper? Luke, the man of faith. Near the end of his life, Luke declared that he would fight cancer to the end. He said if he could beat it once, he's going to beat it again. He shared scriptures and verse with his friends and with a teacher, Llewellyn Wagner. He wrote one day from Proverbs 4:7, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, with all thy getting, get understanding." He gave it to me for a thought for the day. I hope he eventually forgave me for not using it because of the separation of church and state restrictions. So I'm going to give you a poem, Luke. Luke Sturt, this is for you. It is entitled Faith. Doubt sees the obstacles. Faith sees the way. Doubt sees the darkest nights. Faith sees the day. Doubt fears to take a step. Faith soars on high. Doubt questions. Who believes? Faith answers, I. Luke Sturt was faith. Thanks, Luke, for having faith, sharing faith, and keeping faith with all of us. Now, Luke the builder. The question is always asked in education, who builds the builders? Who taught the engineer? Who taught the doctor? Who taught the scientist? And who builds the builder? In education, we say teachers. Teachers build the builders. With Luke, the Duke, Mr. Charger, Luke Sturt, he loved those teachers. The coaches, the hall monitors, the custodians. He especially loved the food service workers. You know those chocolate chip, peanut butter cookies? One day he said to me, "We've got to go on a diet." I said, "What do you mean?" But he especially loved the students. Luke and I agreed that it is better to build boys and girls than repair men and women. Luke's life at Clark was as a builder to us all, and we dedicate this final poem, Luke. It is called How You Spent Your Dash. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on his gravestone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came his date of birth and spoke the following dates with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that Luke spent here alive on earth, and now only those who loved him know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this hard and long. Are there things we don't like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what is true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger, and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved them before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a Luke smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. And so when your eulogy is being read, with your life's action to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? Set the time clock. Luke, my guide and friend, you spent your dash very well. Be proud of your dash, Luke. You've done well, buddy. May God keep you and hold you in his arms forever. I know we won't